In the early summer of 4111, year of the Tusk, Ikurei Xerius III is summoned to a meeting by none other than Maithanet, the Shria of the Thousand Temples. An insolent transgression, to be sure, yet there is nothing to be done. According to Nan, the Shria and the Emperor are of equal status. As his chariot makes its way towards the temple complex of Zothai, a strange revelation strikes Xerius. His subjects despise him. The common people are out in force, eager not so much to lay eyes upon their emperor as they are to hear from their beloved Shria, recently arrived from Sumna. As hundreds become thousands, the unruly Momonites begin to engulf the imperial procession. A single word is echoed by the mob: Maithanet. Has he incited them against me? Is this to be an assassination? Xerius wonders as members of his Eothic guard draw their clubs to clear a path for him. Spitting upon his subjects in passing, the Emperor barely makes it to his destination in one piece. Send word to the barracks, he snarls. Hack this place to silence. I want my chariot to skid across blood when I return. Xerius struggles to compose himself as he enters the temple. In the distance, he can see a man kneeling. The Holy Shriah of the Thousand Temples is tall and surprisingly young, with dark hair and piercing blue eyes. Formal greetings are exchanged, and then the Emperor demands to know the purpose of the Shria's visit. I've come to look into your eyes, rumbles Maithanet. Tell me, have you sealed a pact with the heathen? Have you vowed to betray the holy war before it reaches the sacred land? Indeed, House Ikurei has cast the number sticks. Certain bargains have been made in secret. Yet Ikurei Xerius III pretends to be offended by the suggestion. I assure you, Maithanet, no. I'm injured, Shria, that you would suggest. But Maithanet is quick to offer his apologies, stating that even a holy war may be poisoned by false rumors. As Emperor and Shria walk out together, inarticulate screams can be heard from the assembled masses. Xerius's troops executing his earlier orders. Do you hear, Maithanet? Now they call out my name. Indeed they do, the Shria says darkly. Indeed they do. Hinnereth, an ancient city on the coast of Gidea, is besieged by the Holy War. Around its fields and groves, the men of the Tusk make camp. After conferring, the great names send emissaries to the gates demanding unconditional surrender. The Kianin Sapadishah of Gidea and Sasser Ab Salachka chases them away with arrows. Men are sent into the hills to hew down trees for rams and towers, catapults and mangonels. After weeks of preparation, the men of the Tusk have made their first assault. Clouds of arrows fall among them. Boiling oil pours down upon them. Men fall screaming from their ladders, or are cut down on the battlements. Fiery pitch transforms their siege towers into soaring pyres. They bleed and burn beneath the walls, and the phantom mock them from the heights. Hinnereth, it seems, will not be so easy to topple. The great names send a delegation to the Scarlet Spires. They know that the schoolmen would make short work of the heathen, but they are rebuffed. The Anani sorcerers will only take to the field if the Sisharim oppose them. The siege continues. More lumber is harvested from the hills, and sappers dig further tunnels. Elsewhere, the scouts of Earl Athgieri plunder the surrounding countryside. At a small fort called Deirut, he orders the severed heads of fallen heathens to be launched over the walls. 131 heads later, the defenders of Deirut throw open their gates and prostrate themselves before their Inrithi conquerors. Meanwhile, in Hinnereth, the great names are preparing another costly assault on the walls when they are surprised by the sight of war galleys in the bay, flying the black sun of the Nansir Empire. Soon enough, the imperial banner rises proudly above the city. After weeks of stubborn resistance, Hinnereth's gates finally open, and Sasser Ab Salachka, surrenders his city to Ikurei Xerius. Seemingly overnight, Hinnereth has become an Enrethi fiefdom, enjoying imperial protection. Coithus Sauban is enraged by what he perceives as betrayal. The whole province of Gidea should be his by rights. Did he not defeat the Phantom at Mengeda? Confus only smirks at his protestation, and the Norsirai prince has to be physically restrained in council. Ultimately, Proius and other nobles convince Sauban to leave the impoverished province to the Emperor's legions. Much greater prizes await the Holy War, further to the south. After the war council, Proius finds himself alone with Kryjates Zenimus, his vassal and sword trainer. "Something troubles you, my prince? Tell me, what do you make of Kellis?" An uncharacteristic hesitancy colors Proius's voice. "He terrifies me," admits Zenimus. "I've broken much bread with the man, and cannot count the things he's shown me. Somehow, his presence makes me better." Proius looks to the ground, admits that Kellis does seem to have that effect on people. "He's only a man, my prince," Zenimus hastens to add. "He says so himself." The conversation turns to Acamian, Proius's former tutor, known skeptic and sorcerer. He is well. He has taken a woman, an old love of his from Sumna. "Yes, Esmenet, is it? The one who was a harlot?" "She's good for him," Zenimus says defensively. "I've never seen him so content." "The Tusk says," snaps Proius, "burn them, for they are unclean." "Burn them. How much clarity can there be? He is a sorcerer. You consort with an abomination." Zenimus shakes his head. "I can't believe that." "Then you cannot believe in the Tusk." As Proius notices fear in his old sword trainer's face, he regrets the harsh words and wishes he could apologize, unsay what he'd said. But the cold in his heart feels so unyielding, so true. "I simply go by the word." For the first time since he can remember, the Mandate schoolman, Drusus Acamian, has found peace. His dreams continue to haunt him, but Esmenet is at his side day and night. Contentment, happiness, feelings foreign to both the sorcerer and the harlot. 5 days they spend camped out in the hills all alone, brewing tea in the cold morning, snaring hare and squirrel, swimming in a pool of translucent green, making love to the rush of dry wind through the trees. With Acamian out gathering firewood, Esmenet rifles idly through his damp satchel, setting the contents out to dry. Sheaves of vellum, a child's doll with a silken knob for a face, a rusty knife for a hand, and a curious diagram on parchment, like a map of sorts. She thinks of her daughter, how she hasn't known love since the girl's passing. When Acamian returns, she presses him to explain the strange map. He explains how each word represents a different faction or person. Emperor, Scarlet Spires, Sisharum, Consult. The intersecting lines between them are the relationships he is trying to discern. Esmenet realizes that Acamian doesn't belong to her. Not truly. Mighty events move him, implacable forces that she can hardly begin to understand. "I can't even read," she thinks. "Why, Akka? Why have you stopped? In Sumna you were always making inquiries, courting informants, but not anymore. Not since you brought me to your tent." He tries to deflect the question through humor, but she persists. "It's not you, Esme. It's him." He doesn't even have to say the name. Anna Sarimbor Kellis. The mysterious figure they avoid talking about, both warm, welcoming, and somehow troubling. What is he? Esmenet wants to ask, but instead looks speechlessly to her lover, her husband. "Come," he says. "I want to show you something." From a ledge they hold hands and observe the Holy War moving across Gidea. Like the shadow of mountainous clouds, great columns darken the plain. More than 250,000 Enrethi warriors, and perhaps as many camp followers. They must return to it soon, Esmenet realizes. Their private time was at an end. "Is it like something out of your dreams?" she asks. The sorcerer pauses, as if about to fall from the ledge, then confirms, "Like my dreams." Anasarimbor Kellis sits alone, observing the encamped holy war. He wonders what his father would have him do. Deep in the probability trance, he ponders Acamian, the schools, the houses, all the great factions, the consult, Sorcellus, Saubon, Nair, the holy war itself. Possible worlds blow through him, fanning and branching into a canopy of glimpses. Nameless schoolmen climbing a steep, gravelly beach, a nipple pinched between fingers, a gasping climax, a severed head thrust against the burning sun, apparitions marching out of a morning mist, a dead wife. Kellis exhales, then breathes deep, the bittersweet pinch of cedar, earth, and war. Revelation.